Hartford.
Sure, others are giving away Super Bowl tickets this year, but only HSN gives you and a friend a chance to go to Super Bowl 35 with me.
Make any purchase on the Home Shopping Network during football season and you could win 2 tickets to Super Bowl 35, an all-expense-paid vacation in Tampa Bay, Florida, and hang time with Joe. The Super Bowl sweepstakes with Joe Namath, only on HSN, the official TV retailer of the NFL.
See you.
Women's Basketball, the premier magazine for this dynamic and fast-growing sport, featuring the stars of the court from the WNBA to the college game to the high school scene. Women's Basketball magazine takes you from front row action to behind the scenes. Get with the game with a subscription to Women's Basketball. Call 1-800-561-2065 to receive 8 issues for just $19. That's over 50% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-561-2065 to stay on top of the world of women's basketball.
What do I know about performance? What do I know about control? What do I know about grip? Great horsepower! Limited slip, rear differential. Full-time, all-wheel drive. But what do we know? We're just girls.
Subaru Forester. Sport utility tough, car easy.
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic for the benefit of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame is being brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Playtex tampons. They're so comfortable you can't even feel them. And by Subaru. Visit us at Subaru.com to see our full line of all-wheel drive vehicles.
Getting set to tip it up from the Hartford Civic Center, 12th-ranked Old Dominion and 10th-ranked Penn State. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the start of another women's college basketball season here on ESPN. I'm Beth Mullins along with Doris Burke. We'll be with you all the way through to the NCAA National Championship game next March, and it all starts here in Hartford, Doris. And the matchup today could be pivotal inside, where it looks like Penn State will have the advantage.
Well, no question. Wendy Larry comes in with Lucienne Berthoud, one of the top 5 centers in women's college basketball, going down with a knee injury. So if Penn State early can handle the pressure, they'll look to go inside to Maren Walseth. She is the prototypical Penn State inside player, excellent around the bucket, runs the floor extremely well, Beth, and they will look to get beyond the pressure and attack inside where Old Dominion is thin up front.
The starting lineup for Old Dominion, the State Farm starting lineup, head coach Wendy Larry will go with a 3-guard set due to the injury inside. So a lot more pressure on Tiffany Thompson and Kim Giddens to get the points and the rebounds underneath. Very quick on the perimeter for Old Dominion today. And that could be critical against a Penn State team that comes in with a new point guard, and that means Allie Spence could have a big afternoon, the sophomore from Lafayette, Colorado. Ashley Luke will get the start at point, the first time in 4 years that there's a new point guard in town. And you mentioned Maren Walseth and Rashana Barnes inside. Lisa Shepard is one of the top 3-point guns in the country.
Well, along with Walseth, Shepard is a player who is a pivotal component of last year's Final Four team. She and Chrissy Falcone is also injured for Renee Portland. They really spread defenses, Beth, with their ability to shoot the 3.
Renee Portland so relaxed after that trip to the Final Four last year in her hometown of Philadelphia. And the first appearance for the Lady Lions there. Some big shoes to fill, though, without her point guard Darling and the inside work of Dre Garner. And there is Wendy Larry. The good news for Old Dominion is Hamshatou Maiga, their senior small forward, is here for the game today. They weren't sure if she was going to make it.
Maiga en route from Africa. She was supposed to be back 3 days prior to this tournament. But because of some ticket problems, she was not a priority ticket. She got bumped. She arrived last night at 5 o'clock, and I hear the uproar in the Crown Plaza. Was quite a sight to behold.
There is Bertu in street clothes, unfortunately for Wendy Larry's club. Maiga was in Africa playing in the African Games. And she has been limited in her practice time as a result, so she will not get the start, but we expect to see plenty of her today. Penn State in blue, Old Dominion in white. Tiffany Thompson controls, and they get it out top to Allie Spence. And the first 3 ball of the afternoon from Lakeisha Howard. Penn State quickly in transition, and there's what we were talking about, looking down the floor to Maren Walson.
No, she runs the floor extremely well. Now, Ashley Luke, we've got 2 sophomore point guards starting in this game, but their experience level is drastically different. Spence, a starter for most of the year last year. Luke did not see a lot of time for Penn State, so completely different levels there.
Rashana Barnes with the basket. A player that will have to pick it up scoring and rebounding with the loss of Andrea Garner to the WNBA.
Now, look for Penn State. You're talking about the heart and soul. Helen Darling, the first pick in the 2nd round of the WNBA draft, and probably the purest point guard in all of college basketball last year.
Allie Spence, back-to-back 3 attempts for Old Dominion. This one drops. Quickly on the run, Maren Walseth can't finish. Katrina Carr with the follow, blocked by Tiffany Thompson. And Walseth battling with Allie Spence, and Spence whistled for the foul. Let's check in now with the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Here's Leah Olson.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, there's no doubt that Ashley Luke will have the toughest job on this Penn State team. The young sophomore is coming in. She's going to try and run at the point guard position. As you said, she's taken over for the 4-year starter and the All-American who has done a fantastic job. She has moved on to the WNBA, Helen Darling. She's also assistant coach for Penn State. So look a lot for Ashley Luke to come out strong, and look for Old Dominion to try to take advantage of that matchup.
Thank you very much, Liv.
No, great point. You'll see them extend pressure, try to make Luke make decisions.
Lisa Shepard, her first attempt no good. Penn State getting on the offensive glass. Luke, nice dish to Barnes for 2.
Now the athleticism, you've got athleticism up front for both of these clubs, but some inexperience. Now Giddens came on strong late for Wendy Larry. She's going to have her hands full with Barnes.
She was at her best in the postseason, and they are really looking forward to having that carry over into this year. Here's Giddens working down on the low block. Nice turnaround.
Yeah, you give good, you get good on the opposite end. Excellent athlete, very confident in her offensive game.
Shepard, Penn State very quick to counter here early on.
What are they doing? They're getting up the floor in such a hurry that they're not allowing Luke to be exposed there.
Showing some pressure, slowing down Old Dominion.
What a start for women's college basketball. 4 of the top 12 teams in the country. Georgia and UConn on deck here at the Hartford Civic Center.
Good putback by Giddens. She's got 4 early on. Well, the names don't get much better than those 4. The tradition that they have in college basketball, some of the best around.
And State Farm announced Georgia UConn to start this tip-off classic, and eyebrows went up immediately. It's not often you get such a great matchup to start this one.
Shepard, Ashley Luke doesn't get that one to go. Barnes, basket will not be good. The foul was committed on the floor by Sharon Francis.
Well, Luke doesn't get that one to go, Beth, but the one thing she offers you that Darling didn't, a tremendous three-point shooter, so you've got to respect the one position from the perimeter now for Penn State.
She has worked very hard to nail down this job this year. Katrina Carr has it blocked, and a foul will be called on Tiffany Thompson. So 4 fouls early on here for Old Dominion.
I asked Renee yesterday, I said, Renee, has getting to the Final Four changed her coaching style at all? She said, well, I'll tell you this, is a tremendous weight off my back. And she was very, very honest. She said, hey, we've done great things at Penn State. They're one of the storied traditions in college basketball. But her critics always had that. Hey, she hadn't been to a Final Four in 24 years. She breaks through last year.
We should mention, too, an experimental rule for today's game. You'll notice there is no one on the lowest spot on the free throw line. They are seeing about moving the women out a spot. So that is an experimental rule that they are trying for today's game. There won't be anybody on free throws down on that low spot on the foul line on either side.
The old Dean Smith allow the defensive team position rebounding the basketball as it should be.
Ashley Luke after the turnover. Walseth working against the man-to-man D. Knocked out of there by Thompson. Here comes Howard on the break. She has been spectacular in the preseason for Old Dominion, and she scores there.
Yeah, gave him some scoring punch last year off the bench, and now taking a lot of shots. Hey, somebody has got to score for Old Dominion.
With Bertu gone, you lose 18 points and 9 rebounds a game. Nobody checks out Lisa Shepard, and that one was easy.
You wonder where they miss Lucianne Bertu at 6'2", but a wide frame and just one of the better athletes in the post. Excellent power game. Well, they're missing her on the glass already, Beth.
Actually, you're using Thompson quite a bit out top here to start off their offensive sets. Howard on the drive. Look at the little girl go up for the rebound and draws the foul.
Has the ugliest socks in all of college basketball. She sort of used those socks. She says, Samson had his hair, I've got my socks.
You always know where she is on the floor, that's for certain.
See, she wore them at practice last year. I thought, oh my goodness. This year she didn't. I thought we had seen the last of those.
Well, one thing without Bertu they are going to have to rely on is the speed of their backcourt because they aren't very big. Howard and Spence are both 5'5". Sharon Francis only goes 5'8". So if the Sox give her that extra boost, then she can wear them all she wants, Wendy Larry says.
I feel like we're going to hear a song from the Wizard of Oz. The Lilliput. These represent the Lollipop Kids, but no doubt about Okisha Howard's ability to fill it up from the perimeter.
She had 31, shot 12 for 14 in one of their preseason games. Here's the other part of the combo. Spence no good. Katrina Carr with the rebound. Carr is a converted point guard herself, playing the 2, so they've got some good ball handlers. Breaking the action, just over 4 minutes gone. And Penn State has the early 10-9 lead.
The 2000 ACC Big Ten Challenge on ESPN and ESPN2.
Are all different, but their passion, their dreams are all the same. That's why State Farm is a proud sponsor of women's sports, because little girls have big dreams too.
It was a big weekend. Bummer, big bummer. I'm visiting my sister at college, and I needed a pad. She says, you're still using pads? Don't they feel like diapers? Then she gives me a tampon. Playtex Gentle Glide. Major difference.
Nothing protects more comfortably than Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
I couldn't even feel it.
Playtex adjusts to comfort fit your body. Even the thinnest pads can't do that. Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
So comfortable, you can't even feel them.
Back at the Hartford Civic Center, the State Farm Tip-Off Classic. Penn State with the lead over Old Dominion 10-9. Kicking off our season-long coverage of women's basketball here on ESPN. The journey begins this afternoon with Penn State ODU and then the second half of the doubleheader over on ESPN. Top-ranked Connecticut and number 3 Georgia. A terrific afternoon of basketball for you.
We will start with the best and finish with the best in women's college basketball.
Right.
And Penn State, the Final Four participant a year ago, but when you lose the heart and guts, as you might refer to it if you're Vivian Stringer, your point guard and your inside player, it's tough to adjust, but Penn State fundamentally sound. You can see that already.
And a big whistle right there because that is foul number 2 on Maren Walseth. As she collides with Francis.
Well, foul trouble is something you don't want if you're either team. And Walseth, the safety position on that press, she's responsible. If she's going to make a decision and get up and challenge that pass, she's got to go for the pickoff. Instead, she tries to draw the charge. Not room for that.
Well, Penn State only has 9 players on the roster right now due to a couple of injuries. And they will pick up Katie Schumacher from the volleyball team when the volleyball season ends, but the bench not very long right now for Reedy Portland.
Yeah, nice job to get on the weak side glass out there by Howard. They're in the zone, 2-3 match, Penn State.
3-2 for the Lady Lions. Shepard spots up the 3. A rare miss from out there for Shepard. And working inside, Courtney Upshaw has checked into the game, a freshman from Connecticut, Southport.
Not hard enough to start your first collegiate basketball game, but to do it in Hartford, right in front of your hometown crowd, a little added pressure. She said she was looking forward to it yesterday.
Actually, it was called a jump ball, so the possession arrow will keep it with Penn State.
So welcome to college basketball, Courtney.
That didn't happen in high school. Boy, but freshmen coming into the game now, Doris, are bringing in so many more skills.
You look down and the athleticism has improved, the depth of talent, the recruiting. There are so many more schools recruiting, but thankfully for those coaches who are maybe not in the top 10 trying to get there, the depth of the talent is getting better.
Shepard misses again on the 3. And we mentioned the injury there is Chrissy Falcone. Her 3rd major knee injury happened in the preseason. They also lost Jennifer Brendan, one of their incoming freshmen, to an ACL, which has just become the unfortunate injury of choice, it seems, in major college basketball as Barnes hits another jumper.
Look around the country. Katrina Frierson, prior to the start of the year, Louisiana Tech with Leon Balmer back on the sideline. Lost her. Massachusetts without a key interior player.
Quayla Williams out for Oregon. On the drive, Francis. Good jump stop and move to the hoop.
A sweet little crossover sold the defense. That was pretty.
Penn State on the run. Beating the Lady Monarchs up the floor early on.
I got to believe that's a topic of conversation for Wendy Larry at the next dead ball. Hey, we've got to get in transition.
Ashley Luke whistled for the foul. The sophomore from Aurora, Illinois.
You know, Penn State is trying to mix things up. You get Sharon Francis going against Ashley Luke. The crossover dribble, the quickness factor gets her to the rim, and because of her size, able to put that one home.
Good look at the speed of Old Dominion and the advantage they have. Penn State showing zone. Good ball movement by Old Dominion. Shot from Kamshitu Maiga, who has now come on, rattles in and out, and Old Dominion will keep it. Substitution, and now our first look at Kelly Mazzanti, a highly recruited freshman who was checked in.
And not a shy freshman, a capable shooter from the perimeter, and is not hesitant to put it up.
Well, that's what a trip to the Final Four can do for you recruiting-wise. You start bringing in some bigger names, some better talent, as Monique Coker, a freshman from the Bronx, hits her first basket of her career.
And Coker, a player that Wendy Larry is extremely excited about. Excellent frame, all ready to play college basketball. Solid shooting touch. And good checkout on the weak side. Fundamentally sound.
There is Coker, the freshman from Monsignor Scanlon. Blue Star had her ranked in its top 15 players coming into the college ranks, as Kim Giddens now with 6 on the offensive glass. There is Mazzanti. Her first shot won't go. Old Dominion again with the good box out, running the floor. And the turnover gives it back to Penn State. Now the Lady Lions have numbers. 4-on-2. Barnes, no good. The putback by Courtney Upshaw and the foul.
And Hamchitu Maiga in that transition set, Beth, the last one up the floor. And remember, she's coming off a 20-hour flight. And so the fatigue setting in. Penn State continues to take advantage in the transition game.
She actually had to leave Africa 2 days ago to get here to the game today. She plays for the national team in Mali. They don't mess around with Mr. Basketball or Miss Basketball, you know, in Mali. They just call her the queen of basketball in Mali.
I don't think there'd be any objection. And Wendy Larry, after she doubled her scoring totals last year, really came to count on her. And you got to wonder, as this game wears on, what kind of factor she can be. Fatigue has got to set in.
Penn State by a deuce, and Doris, so far, you know, this time of year, you usually see the defenses ahead of the offenses. The offenses haven't been too bad at this point.
Yeah, there's no question. And Rini was saying to us yesterday, I've got so many young people on my team, but the nice thing is she's been able to tell them things one time. They've been able to pick up on it.
First personal on Rashana Barnes. And we've got a whistle on the rebound after the errant shot from Marianthi Kukuvinu.
I'm glad you tried that one first.
Us play-by-play announcers, we get pumped up for names like that. I've been practicing that one all night. I got it spelled hyphonetically here on my sheet. Kukuvinu, a freshman.
The international recruiting continues for Old Dominion. Remember the Final Four berth in '97 with the great players from Portugal, Clarice Machinguana and Tisha Penichero. Wendy has been creative, as have some coaches across the country. The competitiveness of recruiting makes you seek out foreign players.
Rashana Barnes now has 7 points, and already Penn State into the bonus here with just under 13 minutes still to play in the first half. Howard and Spence have 2 fouls apiece for ODU. Maren Walseth has 2 for Penn State. Gets it to Coker. Francis looking for some space. Shot clock's under 10. Kukuvinu on the drive and draws the foul.
Yeah, this is just solid coaching here by Penn State. Rini recognizing the starting guards out for Old Dominion. She goes to a man-to-man. She tries to make people handle the basketball.
Over 550 wins. Their best season ever last year at 30-5. Rini just signing a new 5-year contract extension to stay with the Lady Lions, where she has pretty much been Penn State basketball, the institution, now in her 21st year. As Kukuvinu misses on the first attempt. 466 in Happy Valley, over 550 for her career.
3 national championships as a player. Immaculata played with Teresa Grentz.
First made free throw for Old Dominion. And they are back within a deuce. Barnes leading the way for Penn State with 7. Kim Giddens has 6 for the Lady Monarchs. Inside Upshaw walked with it. Good defense there, good help by the Lady Monarchs.
You have to wonder, will Penn State struggle in the half-court set? Thus far in transition, things are coming easily for them, but they work short corner and try to go inside. And Upshaw, I think, a little bit nervous. Freshman, first 8 minutes of the game.
Well, it doesn't get much bigger than, you know, talking with Michael Peck, one of the assistant coaches for Penn State. He's like, how'd you like to be a freshman? You're walking out onto the court in front of a capacity crowd here eventually at the Hartford Civic Center, a national television audience. As you well mentioned, welcome to big-time college basketball. It's 18-16. Penn State with the early lead over Old Dominion.
State Farm is a proud sponsor of women's basketball. Because little girls have big dreams, too.
You want a piece of me, Grandpa?
Just drive it right down the center. Right down the center with 1-800-CALL-ATT. Great for collect calls.
But not so great for trash-talking rookies.
Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Say it! 1-800-CALL-ATT.
Good boy.
Hoops Heroes History. This June, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame will induct the class of 2001, and you're invited. For the real fans of the game, this is a unique opportunity to be a part of history. Reserve your place and get your ticket today. If you can't be at the hall, bring the hall to you with a commemorative fan pack. A collection of induction weekend mementos you won't want to be without. For ticket and commemorative fan pack orders or additional information on the Hall of Fame, call us at 865-633-9000.
What'd you get for 26? C, 68 and 74. CNC.
Pencils down.
Right down the center. Not so great for taking tests, but great for collect calls. You can save big bucks by dialing 1-800-CALL-ATT.
10th ranked Penn State with the 2-point lead over number 12 Old Dominion. And the numbers in the first half, ODU started out 4 of 6. They have gone 3 of 9 since then. And Penn State at 37%. So far in the game.
Yeah, getting more shots, Penn State, because they've been able to get in a transition game a little bit more often. But you're right, you normally see defenses at this time of year the focal point, but thus far, neither team really doing a great job on that end of the floor.
The other big story that we touched on at the top, Lucien Berthoud out with an ACL injury for Old Dominion as Kim Giddens scores. And we thought that that would give Penn State the advantage inside with Maren Walsuth, but she has picked up 2 quick fouls. Knocked out of bounds. Penn State will keep it. Kukavinu thought it was going to be ODU basketball.
She didn't make a play on it because of that. Yeah, Bonita Spence has a conversation, but nothing changes.
Spence Sublau and Dennis DeMeo, the officials, the steal. And here comes Francis. Waits for Liga. Nice fill in the middle. And Hamshatu can't finish. She'll go to the line. And let's check in with Leah Olson.
Well, I was listening into the huddle with Renee Portland with Penn State, and she said to her team, it's the mental errors right now. We have to come out strong, and we have to play throughout all of the errors, the little errors we've seen at the start of this game. She also wants her team to get on the offensive rebounding. She says it's very important, and she wants them to start recognizing when the other team, Old Dominion, is in a zone. She didn't think they were doing a good job of that. Throw it back to you, Beth.
Thank you very much, Leah. And of course, that recognition falls to the point guard. And this being the first start for Ashley Luke.
Yeah, not on the floor right now. Katrina Carr will and has experience at that 1-2 position. She'll go and play those spots all year again.
They have the luxury now of Carr coming in, and then they move over Mazzani, the shooter. Nice play there by Old Dominion. Quickly the other way, Shepard. Penn State now 0 for 5 from 3-point land.
And you've got to look at Coker's ability to pass the basketball. We mentioned earlier in the game, Beth, an outstanding size, but can handle and can get you some looks off of that dribble.
The assist there to Kim Giddens, who now has 10 points for Old Dominion. Shot clock's at 10. Katrina Carr tries the baseline and hangs and hits.
Well, if the shot clock's going to go down for Renee Portland this year, there is your best bet to get a shot. Katrina Carr, the athleticism and the handle to go ahead and get by people, and then the elevation to shoot over them.
They don't foresee too many shot clock violations with Carr, Mazzani, and Shepard on the floor. There is our first hand check whistle of the day, and once again, I think this is 3 or 4 years in a row that the emphasis is on the hand check and to knock off some of the physical play by the officials this year.
Well, they continue a carryover from last year. The hand check, and you see once the second hand goes on, you are allowed contact, Beth, on a dribbler. It's intermittent contact primarily with your forearm. But once it's usually where an official will say, okay, you got a 2 count. You can put that hand on initially to measure your distance on a non-dribbling ball handler. But then you've got to take it off pretty quickly. And because it's a carryover, I think you'll see a lot of focus on that from the officials.
Kukuvina hits the free throw. Checking in now, 0-0, another freshman, Karina Turner. Walseth and freshman Jessica Brungo have come back on for Penn State in blue. And once again, Monique Coker, the freshman, making a play, ODU basketball.
Now, Coker is a very, very nice player. Ranked number 11 coming out of high school last year by the Blue Star Report. An outstanding scorer in New York City.
Product of that New York Catholic League, and the offensive foul will go against Old Dominion and Turner, who just checked into the game.
Now, mind you, the women's New York Catholic League is not up to the snuff the men's is. I mean, immediately you jump to mind and Cardinal O'Hara and Christ the King. Certainly Christ the King on the women's side, a great high school program, but Coker not quite that level of competition there, but nonetheless very polished for a freshman.
Very solid. She's not going to get pushed around a whole lot inside as Walseth picks up her first point. The 6'3" senior. Renee Portland said she was trying to take care of everybody else's business and was getting too worried about making sure everyone else was doing their jobs. And Renee said, hey, enough. Just get out there and do your job. And she's settled down quite a bit in the last week or so.
I appreciate the effort of both she and Shepard. Now, you normally like to see your leader come from point guard position, but Walseth and Shepard have got to pick up that role.
Skip pass, and I believe they're going to get another offensive foul whistled against Old Dominion. Hamsatu Maiga setting the pick. That's her first.
Now, we will get a look at it. Always the benefit of the second look, and wow, that looks to me to be a tough call in Wendy Larry's face. Probably pretty accurate, Beth.
Yep.
That's a solid screen being set to free a shooter. Nothing wrong with that.
Penn State, 7 of 8 from the free throw line here in the first half. Jessica Brungo, the freshman from Allison Park, PA, gets her first collegiate points.
We were commenting on the rules and we said the post play and the hand checking, Beth. Just for college basketball fans of the women's game, one of the things to pay attention to is they've talked about the physical contact and they want it to become a pure game. You can't redirect somebody as you cut through the lane, and that will be a big focal point. Dennis DeMeo, one of the premier officials in the women's college game working here today, said, hey, we're going to pay hard attention to that. If cutters go through the lane, you cannot redirect them.
That has been a big concern for a lot of the women's team, is that ability to get inside, to make the athletic plays and to finish at the basket. And they really want to try and see more of that in the women's game this year. And they really think that a lot of that bumping and pushing around is to the disadvantage of the sport.
You know, there are certain styles, certain conferences which get known as physical conferences, and so certainly going to have to make those adjustments.
Penn State creates the turnover. Now we'll try and convert at the other end. On a 6-1 run to grab the lead back. Walseth working on the low block, and she draws the foul. Will head to the line. Second on Karina Turner.
Turner brings some size in there, but Walseth, the experience, understanding how to use that body to draw the contact. You look at her and you say lean frame, but she is very smart around the bucket.
Easy to spot out there on the floor. Always wears that white ribbon in her hair, so her grandmother can see her a little better running around out there on the court. And her grandma at home watching today. And Marin could be a very key cog for the Lady Lions this year. Going to have to be if they make a run at the Big Ten Championship against a very solid Purdue team. And tough competition from Illinois and Wisconsin as well.
And I think Christy Curry put some people on notice with the recruiting class she signed.
Very good group that she's got coming in.
Might be a year away. Very young, especially at the guard spot.
Jumper good from Hamsatu Maiga, her first basket.
You look at a player like Katie Douglas from Purdue, did so many things last year, will provide great leadership again, but nothing like experienced guards in college basketball.
On the break, Sharon Francis leaking out. One defender to beat. Good hustle by Katrina Carr to get back into the passing lane. Rashana Barnes, Lisa Shepard coming back in blue. Ollie Spence back out there for Old Dominion.
Well, they want to get out and run Old Dominion when they can, and Francis has the step, but watch the hustle there. That's just solid job to cut that off, and then Carr giving a little bit of assistance. Very nice.
Coker has her shot rejected by Barnes. She was the second best shot blocker in the Big Ten a year ago.
And Francis steps out after that play, a little bit frustrated. Understands she missed an opportunity there.
Shepard trying to get on track from three-point range.
Well, make no mistake. See, I think Falcone will impact Shepard's game an awful lot. Yeah. You had two players in Falcone and Shepard who had 70 trays each for Renee Portland. Now, that'll spread defense as you put them on the opposite sides of the floor. Now, Shepard will get a lot of attention.
That was Brungo who just hit the jumper. Maiga misses on her, Jay, and then over the back foul will be called, I believe, on Coker. Good position inside from Walseth, and Marin will trek back to the free throw line.
And one of the things you know about Penn State is they're going to be fundamentally sound, and they've had excellent checkout, particularly by Walseth.
On a 9-1 run over the last 4 minutes. When they are on, they are getting to the free throw line an awful lot, and that has been the case here in the first half. 9, now 10 for 12. That's all of Walsh's points now, 5 off of the free throw line.
A longtime assistant, Annie Troyan, speaking with Renee Portland. Annie, 14 years on the Penn State sideline. You want to know what makes great programs? Continuity. Look around Tennessee with Mickey DeMoss and Harley Warlick. And Allison Green from Old Dominion. You can go around the great programs. Chris Daly at Tennessee.
Yep. Continuity on the bench. And right now, 7:46 to go in the first. Penn State with the 5-point lead.
This is Mike. Mike sells muscle cars, but despite their 4-barrel carbs, their dual overhead cams, and their V8 engines, Mike's muscle cars didn't move very fast. So Mike went on cable TV. And that, as Mike would say, put the pedal to the metal. Cable advertising. It's easy, it's affordable, it works. With cable TV, you'll get your ads worth.
Your 2-minute drill begins now.
Which head coach led Nebraska? Which Buccaneers fullback was
Which tennis phenom defeated
UNLV. Gordy Hop. Yes! Charles Oakley. Cy Young. Don Sutton. Florida.
ESPN's 2-minute drill. Have you got the answer? Mondays and Thursdays at 7.
College football Saturday.
Georgia, between the hedges. They can beat anybody, including Ole Miss.
College game day at 11 on ESPN. Ole Miss versus Georgia at 6. Saturday on ESPN2.
I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman.
ESPN presents the phenomenal women of college basketball. 29 regular season games. The selection show with Robin Roberts. Exclusive coverage of 30 tournament games, including the NCAA Final Four.
Because I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman. That's me.
We are starting it all off right here this afternoon at the State Farm Tip-Off Classic, leading up to the NCAA tournament and on to the national championship in St. Louis, Missouri.
We've got the Coaches versus Cancer Classic coming up. 4 outstanding teams in that. You mentioned Wisconsin. Jane Albright-Dieterle does an outstanding job there. And Notre Dame, and Georgia as well, and Oklahoma.
Sherry Cole, one of the real surprises of last year, and she has the Sooners back in action. And that's November 24th on ESPN. And then December 3rd, the following weekend, is the Elite Four Classic down in Orlando. Georgia again, along with Rutgers, North Carolina, and another look at Notre Dame. And boy, the Big East will be quite a battle this year. Connecticut, Rutgers, Notre Dame, Boston College. Lakeisha Howard's shot may have been deflected by Brungo. Here comes Penn State. The no-look. Shepard tried to feed it to Courtney Upshaw. 5 turnovers for Penn State. Shepard, Luke, Brungo, Barnes, and Upshaw in blue for Penn State. Giddens, Miga, Howard, Spence, and Thompson, the starting 5 back out there for ODU.
Yeah, really upset with Shepard. Decision-making from your seniors you expect to be solid, and that's a very tough pass to complete to a freshman. So she in particular has got to be smart with the basketball.
Strong move to the hoop by Miga. Homstu's got 4. One of the captains, tri-captains this year. As Old Dominion will go for their 10th consecutive Colonial Athletic Association championship.
There's Shepard, a player who's got great range and has been excellent, providing some leadership to the youth. But on court, Reaney needs her to be solid with the basketball.
Ellie Spence. Howard sights up the 3. Shooting's been off the mark to this point. From downtown, Brungo will try. Knocked out of bounds by Miga. Penn State basketball.
We talked so much about the injury for Wendy Larry. You look on the Penn State sideline, we talked about Chrissy Falcone, but the freshman Jennifer Brennan, in Reaney's mind, would have been a key contributor. Also goes down to the knee injury.
That's what you were talking about earlier, that Helen Darling did not provide last year, and that Ashley Luke does. She hits the 3. First of the game for Penn State. Howard steps out. Struggling now from the floor.
Yeah, she's just 1 of 6, and she's your biggest scoring punch from the perimeter, so very little balance right now from Old Dominion.
Shepard needed a bounce pass there to get it inside. Howard on the break with Luke to beat. And Barnes there to grab the rebound. Nice play to save it, the outlet to Luke. And here comes Penn State with numbers. Luke hard off the glass and Howard the other way. And the blocking foul called on Lisa Shepard.
You see Luke's decision. I mean, it wasn't great in transition. I don't think she ever got herself squared. 2-on-1 situation, your freshman on the opposite wing, maybe you want to go big. But those are decisions that will come with experience for Luke. It might be tough to start the season, no question.
She did a lot of homework in the offseason. There are the free throw numbers. Old Dominion 3 of 8. Luke watched a lot of film, not only of her in action last year, but of Helen Darling, of Susie McConnell-Serio, of Tina Nicholson. We're talking about one of the highest profile positions in the college game, to play the point at Penn State, and she has really embraced this opportunity.
You have to pay the price. And I don't think a lot of young people realize the value of film watching, Beth, and one of the things that Reaney works it awfully hard at, getting those players in to look at tape.
A lot more involved than just 2 hours of practice and going to class. For a lot of these kids, it's a full-time job, a full day. Class, study table, training table, film work, practice,
weightlifting.
Yep.
We didn't mention social activities in there, did we?
I was going to say, that's just during the season. You got to do it all summer, too. It's a year-round gig for people like Rashana Barnes, who now has 9 points.
So Luke, a good little distribution inside there.
Francis thought about shooting it before she had the handle. It goes out of bounds, and Wendy Leary cheering on her team. After a trip to the Sweet 16 last year, they went 29-5, and they have won 102 consecutive Colonial Athletic Association games.
There's no question they dominate. And so what does Wendy do? She makes sure she plays a great non-conference schedule. She's going to look at North Carolina, Virginia, UCLA, UConn, Rutgers, Tennessee. I think Wendy likes a challenge.
I think she loves one and wants to show her team what they're in for when they get into the NCAA tournament.
And her players might not be thanking her by the time the end of the year rolls around.
Turnover as Kujalina walks with it. 8th turnover of the first half for Old Dominion. And Jackie Shook, number 11, a 6'5" freshman from West Aurora, Illinois, comes on. I believe that's everybody now for Penn State. As Grady Portland goes 9 deep in the first half, and I don't think anyone else on the bench has any eligibility left. That's all she's got. As Shepard hits her first 3 of the day.
Yeah, she's the one you got to find. Allie Spence, the closest to her. You don't leave her. Wendy doesn't like it, calls a 20.
Penn State on a run, 37-28 with 4:07 to go in the first half. And starting to warm up from downtown. After going 0 for 8 from three-point land, they've hit their last 2 to take the lead.
I'm the State Farm agent here in Montpelier. For a one-stop light town, we do get our share of accidents. When somebody has an accident, it's unsettling enough. The last thing they want to deal with is calling 1-800 and put in your 12-digit number. That's not very personal.
Over 16,000 State Farm agents.
Our rates for car insurance are very competitive.
It's no accident. They insure more cars than anyone else.
This is my town. Hi, Jasmine.
If I could see my clients every day, not only could I keep track of their love lives.
This girl, Nancy, she's beautiful. She's smart.
I'd guarantee they'd never see another flake of dandruff. But since I can't see them every day, I tell them, use Head & Shoulders every time they shampoo. Because daily use keeps their scalp in healthy condition, so flakes don't even stand a chance. And Head & Shoulders leaves hair beautiful.
Looks great.
Nancy's gonna love it. It's daily care for beautiful, flake-free hair.
From Ashley Luke and Lisa Shepard, and 10th-ranked Penn State has the 37-28 lead over number 12 Old Dominion. The State Farm Tip-Off Classic here in Hartford, Connecticut. Beth Mowens along with Doris Burke and Leah Olson. The first of our doubleheader to start out the season here on ESPN. Georgia and Connecticut coming up next over on ESPN. The journey begins en route to the Final Four in the National Championship in St. Louis.
Great pressure there. Excellent steal by Luke.
Stays here.
Penn State off the dead ball, comes with some pressure. Old Dominion doesn't respond.
And that's going to be the 3rd personal foul on Allie Spence, boxing out on the rebound. The fouls mounting here in the first half. Penn State has been shooting free throws since about the 13-minute mark.
You mentioned the great tradition of point guards at Penn State. How about Old Dominion in the shoes Spence has to fill? Nancy Lieberman-Klein, quite possibly the greatest point to have ever played the game. Yep. And then Tisha Penichero and Spence stumping in, named a co-captain or tri-captain this year. Unusual to see a sophomore. Tribute to her leadership abilities.
Shepard hits a couple of free throws. Penn State doing some damage at the line where they are 13 of 15. It's now a 19-7 Lady Lion run.
Oops, Heroes History. This June, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame will induct the class of 2001, and you're invited. For the real fans of the game, this is a unique opportunity to be a part of history. Reserve your place and get your ticket today. If you can't be at the hall, bring the hall to you with a commemorative fan pack. A collection of induction weekend mementos you won't want to be without. For ticket and commemorative fan pack orders or additional information on the Hall of Fame, call us at 865-633-9000.
To get around these parts, they say you need dogs. Good thing I got my Subaru Outback. It's got loads of cargo space, toasty seat warmers, and something you won't find on your average sport utility. The added traction of full-time all-wheel drive. It's the perfect way to get around, even when you're way out here. Now, as for the dogs, they're not much help if you ask me. Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
32, 33, 34, 45, 46, 47, 50, 451, 452.
Cold symptoms keeping you awake?
What?
Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever, so you can get the sleep you need to feel better medicine.
Little body foo-foo.
39-28, Penn State with the lead over Old Dominion. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half. And coming up at halftime, Dave Repson and Fran Harris in the studio. And Fran has some players to watch this year. Can Connecticut repeat? And Georgia's woes. They've been to the big dance. They've been to the Final Four, still looking for that national championship. And they have another solid club again this year. Perhaps their best chance, and we'll see them against the Huskies later this afternoon.
Well, you mentioned the Elite Four that will be played out on ESPN in December. Andy Landers is going to get a look at Vivian Stringer's zone before the NCAA tournament this year. He's not going to wait.
Let's check in, too, now with Leah Olson.
Well, what Wendy Larry said to her team is the team who's going to walk away with a victory here is the team with the most heart. She does not feel like her team is giving it all. She wants them to come out and hustle, and she said by halftime she only wants to be down by 5 points.
All right, thank you very much, Leah. Then they've got some work to do here on the defensive end to try and cool down Penn State. Ashley Luke with a couple of threes.
Now that will spread defensive. See, now she's getting those shots after the second and third pass. It's sometimes tough for a point guard to get shots if she's not a great creator, but she's finding seams.
Luke creates the turnover, shows her handle, and then takes it strong to the basket.
So after a couple shaky minutes, Luke, the ability to be mentally tough and come back. It always helps when you make some shots. That stride changes just a little bit.
They don't shy away from contact either. You know, when the kid pulls out her mouth guard after heading into the lane, she's a tough kid. Penn State on a 10-0 run. They have taken over the glass as well, and perhaps we're starting to see the advantage now kick in for Penn State inside with Lucienne Berthieu not playing for Old Dominion with the ACL injury.
Now, I thought Leah Olson's point was well taken. Wendy Larry said play with heart. It was something she talked about last night at the bank, but remember, you lose your heart and soul in Lucienne Berthieu, your pillar in the post. And it was just last week in practice. That takes time to adjust to, not only on the floor, but mentally for these players. That's why they were so pleased Hamshatu Maiga arrived back from Africa.
See if they can get back on track offensively. And no, Maiga whistled for the walk. 12 turnovers, and they have missed 6 of their last 7 shots. So ODU struggling right now at the offensive end.
Yeah, and Maiga, the player you might want to think, hey, she's going to step up and provide the leadership. But we've already said, hey, 20-hour flight, there are going to be some mistakes by her, mentally and physically.
She practiced for what, the first 2 weeks, and then has been gone for the last week and a half. Katrina Carr, strong move to the bucket.
Yeah, and there's the most athletic guard in Penn State right now. She's got great explosion to the bucket.
Showing some pressure again. Kim Giddens leading the way for Old Dominion with 10 points in this first half. And Monique Coker has shown signs of doing some good things, just a freshman. Maiga on the offensive glass, blocked by Shook, and Jackie whistled for the foul.
Well, you mentioned Coker, and right there, her ability to go ahead and be aggressive, frees things up, and allows her teammate to step in and go for the glass. See, Coker initially in the post, and once Maiga gets positioned, she forced Shepard to come down. Maiga gets inside. Positive result.
There is Monique. And really an opportunity for her to step in and get a lot of playing time on that front line. And Wendy Leary would love to see a little more depth, and perhaps Coker is the one that can provide it. Micah at the free throw line to stop a 14-0 Penn State run. Good takeaway by Sharon Francis. Nice hustle at the defensive end. Francis, the junior from Maryland. And the whistle out top called on the screen. That's the third foul we've seen called against Old Dominion setting a pick today.
Well, and it's one of the most called calls in women's college basketball. And the freshman Turner, who will learn.
Both coaches doing a little teaching with their younger players. Well, we have seen just in the first 20 minutes Luke's confidence grow a little bit from her start until the last couple of trips up the floor.
It's interesting, both of these coaches will have to do an awful lot of teaching still. The backcourt's young, sophomores for both of them, and Turner, the freshman, with 3.
A dozen points now for Lisa Shepard. Give her a baker's dozen.
Well, the coaches you've got coming up, a little bit different story now. Georgia, as you said, with a host of players back and a team that was within a breath of the Final Four, and Gino with so much experience, in particular at the point, and Sue Bird.
I believe the top 8 are back for Connecticut, and the top 7 are back for Georgia.
You talk about a matchup in the perimeter game in the second one. Whew. That's probably 2 of the most talented and well-balanced backcourts in all of the nation.
All can score, all can play defense. Inside Coker, good head fake to get Shook up in the air, and then the finish.
Very polished, both from inside and out. 15 feet and in, you've got to respect her jump shooting ability. That little up fake sold them. And a different look here. First time we see the 1-3-1. Wendy's used this in the past.
Penn State recognizes. Can they attack it now? A lot of pressure. Maiga out on Luke. Boy, they're really extending that pressure now as well. Shot clock under 5. And Shepard tried to feed it inside to Shook. He wasn't ready for it. ODU the other way. Francis, nice hesitation move, and the defense was even better. Shepard and Shook, I think both might have gotten a piece of that one.
Well, that's twice now. Francis has been in transition and hasn't made great decisions. If you're Wendy Leary and you're out there and you're saying, hey, pull up and shoot that jump shot. Defense went by, you're at 6 feet, bang it.
Possession arrow will keep it with Old Dominion, and the jumper is good from Mariah Spence, a freshman from New Mexico. New Mexico's high school player of the year last year.
And forced into some minutes, some foul trouble for Howard and Spence.
Shepard so quick on that release from downtown. Lisa with her second 3, 16 now in the first half.
And if there's going to be defensive breakdowns, this is a freshman. Coker a little bit slow to get out and guard the shooter.
Shepard's career high 31 points when she hit 6 3-pointers in a game last year against St. Francis of PA. Well, we saw this the other night in the men's coaches versus cancer. A high-scoring start here for Penn State, just like Kansas and UCLA.
Can Old Dominion respond? The foul trouble certainly hurting here in the first half.
Francis on the drive. Coker. No good. Battle for the loose ball. Rebound Shepard to Carr to Luke. Waiting for some help. Good give and go. Carr gets it back. Can't finish. And that will be the end of the first half of play. A good one for Lisa Shepard and Penn State. 16 points to lead the way. 51-33. Lady Lions. Let's check in with Dave and Fran.
All right, welcome to our college hoops tonight. Halftime spectacular. Dave Revson along with the former University of Texas star Fran Harris. And Fran, we've seen Penn State really kind of pull away here late in the first half. They went on that big run What have they done to pull away from Old Dominion?
Well, I'll tell you, this game has been all about tempo, and Penn State established that from the beginning, Dave. They came out, they handled the pressure that Old Dominion gave them, but they're the aggressor at this point. With 3 minutes left in the game, they had gotten to the free throw line 15 times, and that tells me that they're being very aggressive in that half-court set. Absence of Lucienne Berthoud obviously hurting Old Dominion, their great star, out for the year. Lots more to come. The beauty of the women's game is the stars stick around, and we'll see some of them, including Tamika Catchings of Tennessee, when we return.
Seattle is surrounded by water, and then it rains. And that means car accidents. When that happens, are you going to have a State Farm agent who knows you personally, or are you going to have no agent and hope for the best?
Over 16,000 State Farm agents.
Our rates are very competitive.
It's no accident. They insure more cars than anyone else.
I'm going to be getting some calls today.
Working out was not working out. I needed a pad. Meg only had tampons. Playtex Gentle Glide. Wait, is this gonna be comfortable? And Meg says, like pads are, even the thinnest ones feel like a diaper.
Playtex protection adjusts to comfort fit. No pad can do that.
Great move. I couldn't even feel it.
So they're more than invisible. They're completely comfortable. Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
So comfortable, you can't even feel them. Yeah.
You want a piece of me, Grandpa? Just drive it right down the center. Right down the center with 1-800-CALL-ATT. Great for collect calls. But not so great for trash-talking rookies. Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. Say it! 1-800-CALL-ATT. Good boy.
There will always be skeptics. Naysayers. People who know the price of everything, the value of nothing. You know them. They say it will never work, never happen, never fly. The next time they tell you all the logical reasons why it can't be done, just remember all the times that they have been wrong.
There it is!
I see it! Get it! Get the target sauce!
Crazy about seafood? Then you're gonna love Red Lobster. Quench your cravings with fresh fish, succulent shrimp, and everybody's favorite, lobster.
Hey, say something for me!
Red Lobster. Go overboard.
What'd you get for 26? C, 68 and 74. CNC.
Pencils down.
Right down the center. Not so great for taking tests, but great for collect calls. You can save big bucks by dialing 1-800-CALL-ATT.
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic for the benefit of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame is being brought to you by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Welcome back. College Hoops Tonight halftime show. Dave Revson along with Fran Harris. Shaping up to be just a great year in women's college basketball. You look at the Kodak All-American team from last year, first and second teams. 8 of those 10 players are back. We'll see 3 of them in that UConn-Georgia game alone.
I'll tell you what, this has to be the most versatile college basketball crop of recruits, actual players that we have coming out in a very long time. And leading that cast is Svetlana Abrosimova, who really is the most versatile player in the country. Can put the ball on the floor with the best of them, has a great outside jumper, tremendous hands around the basket. This is a player who will battle Tamika Catchings for Player of the Year. We talk about how great Tennessee is. Tamika Catchings, hands down, best player in the country. I talk about Svet, but Tamika brings that hunger, that necessary hunger. She makes her presence felt on both ends of the floor, and I really think that's what sets her apart from the rest of the country. She needs to really establish that outside jump shot, but really a tremendous talent for Tennessee.
Without a doubt, the best post player in the country is Ruth Riley. Has the tendency to get in foul trouble. Saw her play in the tournament last year, but here's a player who keeps the ball high, cannot be denied on the baseline, and has a nice, soft feather jump shot. And you got to talk about the Huskies. It's a dogfight whenever they come to play. Shea Ralph, one of the best off guards in NCAA basketball, really has not gotten the credit that she deserves. Will be an All-American this year. But you talk about Connecticut and how talented they are, Dave. Shea Ralph is the first player you talk about because she brings that heart and that soul to that Connecticut team. And then the lefty of the group, Katie Douglas, who many feel will lead Purdue to the Final Four again. They got there in '99, but Katie Douglas can spot up, hit it from the great beyond, and I like her ability to post smaller guards up and take them down low on the block. And Georgia, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Kelly Miller really looks to change that this year. Kelly Miller and her sister Coco Miller are the players who will lead this Georgia team, but Kelly Miller, really the player last year who was the SEC Player of the Year, beat Tamika Catchings out, is a player who would look to lead that charge. And these players, you don't hear a whole lot about them, Dave, but Samika Randall, not the great offensive player, but the defender for that Tennessee team, and Tasha Pointer with Rutgers, looking to make a change for the Rutgers team as well. Lynette Pearson in Texas Tech with the Big 12. That conference is improving as well. And Sky LaRue, one of the few players in the women's game, Dave, who can play above the rim.
All right, as the name, I suppose, would imply, right? Anyway, we have a great schedule to be able to see virtually all those players on ESPN this year. And as we check it out, 29 regular season games, including the rematch of UConn-Tennessee. That's the big one. They play twice this year, remember. 30 tournament games, the women's selection special hosted by Robin Roberts, and exclusive coverage, all the games from the women's Final Four in St. Louis. It will be a great year of women's basketball on ESPN. We're off to a rip-roaring start. Penn State all over ODU, 51-33. Second half coming up from Hartford. We're coming right back.
We were there when you babies really began to boom. We were there when you were a generation on the road. And when you were surrounded by the children of peace and love. We were even there when you had children and love, if not always peace. And now that you're on the other side of the generation gap, there's no one better to talk to about your changing life insurance needs than the State Farm agent you've always trusted to care for your car, your home, and you. State Farm is there for you because State Farm is there for life.
Oh yes, a brilliant move. Galway scampering across the goal to stop it. They just couldn't seem to get enough players forward before. He's showing good fluid movement. To the right, the left. This is another aggressive charge down the flank. He's timed his run to absolute perfection. Two defenders to beat. He's passed one. This is looking like a chance. Yes, he takes the shot in.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
There are times when you have trouble sleeping because you can't stop thinking about the tensions of the day. Try something different. New Aluna Sleep, the herbal supplement that won't knock you out, but relaxes you so you can drift off to sleep naturally. Aluna is not a drug. There are no groggy side effects. It promotes a natural sleep pattern in just a few nights. New Aluna. It doesn't make you sleep. It lets you sleep.
Introducing the latest in all-weather gear from LL Bean. It's warm, waterproof, and rugged. It's the new LL Bean Edition Outback from Subaru. With full-time all-wheel drive, classic LL Bean styling, and a new, powerful 6-cylinder engine that makes the toughest drive a walk in the woods. The LL Bean Edition Outback, new from Subaru. Parka, sold separately.
Hoops Heroes History. This June, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame will induct the class of 2001, and you're invited. For the real fans of the game, this is a unique opportunity to be a part of history. Reserve your place and get your ticket today. If you can't be at the hall, bring the hall to you with a commemorative fan pack. A collection of induction weekend mementos you won't want to be without. For ticket and commemorative fan pack orders or additional information on the Hall of Fame, call us at 865-633-9000.
Welcome back. Dave Revson, Fran Harris with you. Second half of the doubleheader at the Hartford Civic Center today. Georgia against UConn. And The Lady Huskies, they lost just two players, just two role players, actually, off that national championship team from last year. And this schedule, this first game, showing they're not afraid of anyone, not backing down.
Absolutely. You know, Gino RM understands that in order to get your team ready for the playoffs, you got to sprinkle that schedule with some tough competition. Louisiana Tech on the 7th, didn't even mention Tennessee on the 30th of December. But here's a team, as you mentioned, Dave, is looking to repeat, and they will have a tough schedule ahead of them. Got Georgia today as well.
Well, speaking of Georgia, 5 trips to the Final Four. They have no rings to show for it. This is a team that's the preseason number 3, but they come in a little bit banged up.
I mean, it's very difficult for Georgia to get going. They've got some of their key players out. They are always the team that almost gets there, sniffs the rings, but is never sized for the rings. And so this year, both Miller and the player who used to play for Georgia, actually, will have to come out and have big numbers for them.
All right, so that should be a good one. 4 o'clock Eastern time is when that game tips off. It is over on ESPN. And there you see Svetlana Brosimova. She'll be leading UConn as it begins its defense of its national title. And then don't forget, SportsCenter comes your way at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Steve Levy and Carl Ravitch. All the highlights from the NFL. And Tiger going for yet another win over in Spain. We'll let you know if he got it. That is at 7 Eastern over on ESPN. Meanwhile, we're heading back to the Hartford Civic Center for the second half. Ashley Luke to Rashana Barnes. Penn State looking good, up 51-33.
HTS, it's a November to remember. Capitals hockey, always intense. The greatest goalie on the planet leads the defense of the division crown. Wizards basketball. The season goes full bore with a dozen slam bang games. ACC college basketball. The best hoops anywhere gets underway. College football. The big plays happen here in 13 huge games. College soccer. HTS delivers the championship season. Get set for a November to remember. Only on HTS.
C'est joli. C'est mon endroit préféré de Paris. On a été ici toute la journée.
Wherever there is beautiful hair, without the slightest hint of a flake, there is Head & Shoulders. So with just the mere twist of a few strands,
c'est tellement romantique. Écoute,
he'll realize letting go may be the hardest thing he ever does.
J'adore tes cheveux.
I don't understand a word you just said, but keep on talking.
Head & Shoulders. Dandruff should never get in the way of being close.
Get the power of 3, the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
It wasn't much of an accident. Still, there's a family that'll have a hard time getting to practice or on the trip they planned. Fortunately, they have a State Farm agent and the help of the world's largest claims network. And no one has more experts handling more claims quickly and fairly. That's our Good Neighbor promise. So they'll be back on the road a lot sooner than they thought.
Welcome back to the State Farm Tip-Off Classic. Here at the Hartford Civic Center, 51-33. Penn State with the lead over Old Dominion. Lisa Shepard leading the way with 16 points, but a big first half for Ashley Luke. Well, Rennie Portland has done a solid job getting her prepared to play the point. Solid job getting it up in transition. What Helen Darling didn't offer you, Luke does. Perimeter shooting, can use the handle, can distribute to other players, Beth. And the key for her is going to be taking her time and not rushing things. Gets the steal, solid handle, a little nervous to start the basketball game, but settled in beautifully. 8 points, 7 assists. Exactly what Rennie wanted to see. And only 2 turnovers in the first half. They've had some good point guards at Penn State. Rennie Portland thinks that Ashley can be among the best.
It's going to be baptism by fire early. You know, the word is press Penn State. But I believe she's going to be okay. You know, Helen was 10 turnovers a game when she was a freshman. It drove me nuts. There was a Dana Eichenberg. There was a Susan McConnell. I mean, there's been great point guards at Penn State, so I know we can coach them. And she's certainly doing her part of the deal.
Ashley Luke, Renee Portland telling us, hung her head once in the preseason. And Renee had to pull her aside and say, hey, do you understand what this job is to play the point at Penn State? And related it to being a marriage. You never put your head down. You always keep the ring on, and you always go out there and give 100%. And that's what is demanded of the point at Penn State.
You think about Susan McConnell-Serio as one of the all-time great players in that position. Teresa Weatherspoon comes to mind. Probably the single greatest defensive performance ever in an NCAA championship game. Teresa Weatherspoon turning an Auburn double-digit lead into a Louisiana Tech national title for Leon Barmore.
Big story in the first half as well. Penn State at the free throw line, 17 of 19, and they scored 20 points off of turnovers to open up the advantage. Ashley Luke out there with Barnes, Carr, Walseth, and Shepard in blue for Penn State. Howard, Miga, Spence, Coker, and Giddens in white for Old Dominion, and Barnes starts it out with a deuce.
You know, stepping up nicely in place of Garner, and Garner was very capable in that high-low set with Walseth, and Barnes does a great job there. Capable shooter at 15 feet. I like that kid's future.
A lot of potential out of Philadelphia. Giddens working down low, lost it, gets it back. Howard on the drive is fouled by Katrina Carr. The first on Katrina.
Howard is really the player that needs to get started if they're going to make a run in this game. Very speedy two-guard. Doesn't have great size. Might get posted up as the year goes on.
Giddens 10 points in the first half. A lot of those coming early on, though. They get it back to her. Let's see if they can establish her. The kick out to Spence. Walseth with the rebound. Penn State in transition. Katrina Carr with the finish. Nobody stopped ball.
You know, Fran Harris mentioned it. They have, Beth. She said tempo was key. And both teams have really gotten up and down, but Penn State has done a better job finishing plays.
Miga. A little out of control on the drive. It comes back out, though, to ODU. Howard left unattended. Foot on the line. Good for two. And the steal at the other end. ODU with numbers. 3-on-2. And Coker loses it.
See, they've been able to get out and make some things happen defensively, but they don't turn it the opposite direction. Francis in the first half was struggling when she got in the open floor.
Carr, quick first step to go baseline. Katrina now with 10.
Well, she was sort of the overlooked player, I thought, on last year's team. You think about a player who had to play behind tremendous guards, but she did a nice job in support. Katrina Carr.
Howard with the drive for 8. Yeah, Carr was a point guard. She'd actually talked to Renee Portland about playing the point. She said, well, we got a kid here by the name of Helen Darling that we kind of like, and so we're going to have you play the 2. And now Carr thinks that's a pretty good idea. You got a lot more playing time that way. And here are the first half statistics.
And you see the game being won at the free throw line. Penn State doing a superb job not only getting there, but shooting 90%. 17 first half points, and the field goal percentage is relatively even, or dead even, I should say.
Substitution now, Tiffany Thompson coming on. She has had a quiet day. She'll have to pick things up for Old Dominion in the absence of Lucienne Bercu. Both of these teams have lost a player. Penn State, in fact, 2 players to ACL injuries. With both teams losing a starter. And in the Old Dominion sideline, it is probably their best player, the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Year in Bertu.
And 3 times over, and anticipated that she would have a superb senior year. Thompson, a player who has seen time in the past, averaged 5 points, 4 boards a year ago, and injury is opportunity. She needs to be a little bit more aggressive.
Went high school at St. John's Prospect Hall. Of course, produced the Capels, Jason Capel of North Carolina. And that whistle will go against Lisa Shepard. That is the second on Lisa. Here is Okesha Howard, the sophomore from Virginia Beach, 8 points. You get a sense quickly, though, in the first couple minutes here in this half, Beth, that she has that kind of capability to go in scoring bunches. She had 4 at the half, and very quickly here becoming a lot more active. And you like her mentality. Young, she was 1 of 7 in the first half, not shy here in the second. Gets the bounce on a couple of free throws. Howard now with 10. Barnes feeding it inside. Shepard. And here comes Old Dominion again with numbers on the break. Sharon Francis. Kick out to Thompson. She'll straight up to 3. Maiga with the offensive board.
See, there's that tempo. They don't score off their initial break, but they're patient. They get it back out from down low.
Ball movement on the perimeter. Ends up with Luke. Misses on the jumper. Follows up the shot and feeds Barnes.
And that's just a defensive collapse. If you're Old Dominion, you can't afford those. You got to check out shooter.
More three-quarter court pressure from Penn State. Spence. No good on the shot. Again, Maiga back-to-back offensive boards. Can't finish, but she'll go to the line.
And the rest at halftime. And new legs, a little spring for Maiga here in the second half. She is an excellent leaper, and she knows how to time things. Weak side glass, just steps inside. Quick feet gets her the position. The ball fake to sell Barnes. Wants it back. Knew she had an opportunity to finish that one.
From Mali in Africa, 15 brothers and sisters that she grew up playing with.
The thing you like about her, Beth, is that she's improved every single year. And I don't think she's tapped her potential yet. She can tighten up the handle, become more consistent from the perimeter, add a little bit of range, but she's got the capability to do all of that.
One of the things, too, that the ODU coaches are most proud of is the way that some of the foreign kids have to work, not only on the floor, but off the court with language barriers and learning customs and learning the way that we do things in America. And it's a big adjustment that they have been able to handle very well.
They've had a tradition of it. You think about how gracefully Penichero and Mashingwana handled that.
Just over 4 minutes into the second half, 61-41 Penn State.
ESPN and ESPN2, home of the Women's College Basketball Championship.
It was a big, big weekend. Bummer, big bummer. I'm visiting my sister at college, and I needed a pad. She says, "You're still using pads? Don't they feel like diapers?" Then she gives me a tampon. Playtex Gentle Glide. Major difference.
Nothing protects more comfortably than Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
I couldn't even feel it.
Playtex adjusts to comfort fit your body. Even the thinnest pads can't do that. Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
So comfortable you can't even feel them.
They're young. And some just think that way. The people and companies that were born digital. Or reborn. As comfortable with data as the last generation was with the telephone. As long as they have the right set of tools. And the right company behind them. WorldCom. Generation D.
Two eager CEOs.
Jets, or will it be Peyton Manning and the Colts? It all starts out with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And, of course, Monday Night Football, the Oakland Raiders and the Denver Broncos. It'll be tough to top the excitement of last year's fantastic finish for the Green Bay Packers, but they'll try at Mile High Stadium. Monday Night Football live at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football.
The Oakland Raiders getting back to the John Madden glory days. How about their record?
Oh, my brother is ecstatic, a huge Raiders fan. I think it's good for the NFL when the Raiders, they're one of those love them or hate them type of teams.
Kenny Stabler, Fred Biletnikoff, Cliff Branch, those were great teams.
Old Dominion trying to work itself back into this one. They run at the end of the first half by Penn State, fueled by some good free throw shooting and three-point shooting. Has allowed them to open up the advantage. So Keisha Howard, though, trying to get things going in the second half for Old Dominion. The kick out Luke, 3-on-1. Actually stops, pops, there's the pull-up from the elbow.
Just an outstanding decision. Defense never commits, so what does the young point guard do? Just pull up right inside the foul line and drain it. That's just outstanding.
Boy, the homework and the hard work in the offseason certainly has paid off for Luke. Maiga, very athletic to the basket.
It's nice to see, a player who pays the price, puts in the time, go ahead and achieve some success.
Maiga with the block, and ODU heads the other way. I think sometimes, too, Doris, you see in the case here of Luke and Rashana Barnes as Howard hits the three, they don't necessarily blossom and mature until their mentor is sort of gone.
Yes.
Has graduated and moved on, and these guys now know it's their turn. Tiffany Thompson. Maiga really battling inside with Walseth. She's got the ball. Tonti uses glass. Shepard, though, the only one in there to rebound.
A pretty good defense there by Walseth. Just arms straight up, vertical, no lean in.
There is Ashley Luke. And the battles that they will have in the Big Ten this year. Of course, 3 new coaches as well joining the Big Ten Conference. So a season of change. Everyone, at least in the preseason, will be chasing Purdue, the preseason favorites. But new coaches at Iowa, Indiana, and Michigan State this year.
Yeah, Kathy Bennett, the daughter of Dick Bennett. It'd be interesting to see her style of play, how the Big Ten likes that. Joanne Palumbo-McCauley at Michigan State. Had great success at Maine. Everybody remembers her in the years of Cindy Blodgett, but a fundamentally sound coach.
Let's take a look at this basket by Maren Walseth.
She is just an outstanding post player. Makes a ball side cut, makes herself a nice positive target, squares her shoulders. That's so important to get square to go ahead and get good position inside.
Working on the offensive glass, Rashana Barnes. She now has 15. Howard, been the main offensive weapon today for Old Dominion. Unfortunately for the Lady Monarchs, the only one to this point. There she is with the defensive rebound.
Now you gotta like her and Maiga's effort. They're certainly trying to make things happen.
Sharon Francis misses on the 3. Luke has it, running with Lisa Shepard. Behind the back to Rashana Barnes. Can't convert.
There's shades of Helen Darling and Susan McConnell.
She's getting a lot of confidence in a hurry. The feed to Barnes. Great pass, and Rashana with the finish.
Now, one of the things you look for is vision, and that was a perfect example of Luke's ability to see the floor.
I don't know what everybody at Penn State was worried about. The transition seems to be fine from Darling to Ashley Luke.
Wow.
Wow.
You got to have post players who want to run the floor. Barnes, great job beating the defense, and Luke, yes, ma'am. And you love a little flash and dash in your point guard. Little 3-on-1 situation. Nice pass right down the middle. Don't complete it, but that was pretty.
Just the beginning today, folks. A reminder that Connecticut and Georgia will follow us here at the Hartford Civic Center over on ESPN. And Kelly Miller and Sue Bird quite capable at running the show as well, that we will see later today as Connecticut will try and become the first team since Louisiana Tech back in the early 80s to stay continuously at #1 and win back-to-back championships 2 years in a row. And they are in the house, looking on, getting ready.
A thumbs-up signal by Diana Taurasi, probably the best freshman coming out of high school a year ago. And we've had an opportunity to watch her at practice yesterday and the shoot-around this morning, Beth, and I'm telling you what, sensational player.
They continually get kids that will probably end up playing maybe 20 minutes a game that if they went to other places would be playing all night. You know, starting right from the get-go.
The rap on Taurasi was that she was a little bit of an ego situation, but she came to the one program in the country where she knew she wouldn't start, and I think that says a lot about the kid's character.
Walseth and Barnes now combining for 26 points inside for Penn State. Double team. Howard for 3. Keisha, a very good rebounder for a 5'5" guard.
And one of those players with a knack for the ball and the speed to get there.
Spence will try for 3. Just cannot find the range outside. Tiffany Thompson in and out. Thompson still looking for her first points of the game. Old Dominion has now missed 8 baskets in a row. And Jessica Brungo, freshman from Pennsylvania, will, I believe, head to the free throw line. Let's see if she was shooting. Yes, she was.
It's a little bit tough when you're starting backcourt of Spence and Howard combined for 5 of 19. You've actually gotten some decent inside scoring with the likes of Maiga and Giddens. It's been your outside people who've hurt you.
5 now for Brungo as Monique Coker and Hamshitu Maiga come back into the game for Old Dominion. Brungo, a member of the freshman class that will get plenty of playing time at Penn State. 2 ACL injuries, has left Rennie Portland with just 9 players until the end of the volleyball season, when Katie Schumacher will join them to at least allow them to scrimmage 5-on-5 in practice. Right now, it's all Penn State.
I do kitchens, I do bathrooms, I do family rooms. I do not do insurance. I want to be treated like I feel I treat my clients. I want to be treated like I am their only client. Michelle Dutzman treats me the same way I want to be treated. I have my cars, all of my household. I need somebody that I can get advice from. I know that when I need them the most, they're going to be there.
Get to know your State Farm agent.
It's a great relationship.
I know what he's thinking.
How long is this gonna take?
There he goes. Mini pizza?
Well, as long as I'm here.
Smoked sausage?
Just a taste.
Salsa?
Fiesta time.
Because life's full of surprises, some pleasant, some not so pleasant, there's Pepcid AC. And unlike Tums, Pepcid AC works on heartburn anytime, before, during, or even after the start of heartburn.
Many pizzas. How far?
Today should be heartburn-free with Pepcid AC.
Hoops Heroes History. This June, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame will induct the class of 2001, and you're invited. For the real fans of the game, this is a unique opportunity to be a part of history. Reserve your place and get your ticket today. If you can't be at the hall, bring the hall to you with a commemorative fan pack. A collection of induction weekend mementos you won't want to be without. For ticket and commemorative fan pack orders or additional information on the Hall of Fame, call us at 865-633-9000.
Everyone, I'm Leah Olson, along with Jack North, the Senior Vice President at State Farm, a huge sponsor for the Tip-Off Classic here. Jack, a tremendous crowd. It should be even better for the second game. Talk about how the crowds have increased every year.
Well, Leah, we're thrilled. This is our 8th year. We kick off the women's basketball season. Every year we get 4 of the best teams in the country. And this year here in Connecticut with a full house on ESPN and ESPN2, it doesn't get any better than this.
Talk a little bit about State Farm's commitment to all of women's athletics.
We believe we're the leading corporate sponsor of women's athletics, Leah. We're proud of that. We think it serves our policyholders very well. We support professional tennis, women's golf, women's basketball, women's volleyball, and figure skating, and we remain very committed to it. And we think, again, it's good strategy for us.
All right, thanks a lot for your time, Jack.
Thank you.
Let's take it back to Doris and Beck.
Thanks a lot, Leah and Jack. State Farm has been so instrumental in putting this together. And of course, around this time, we always think of Bruce Callis, who was so instrumental in the success of this. And our thoughts always with Bruce when it comes time to tip it up for the State Farm Classic. 8 years, incredible talent that has been involved in this event that traditionally kicks off the college season for the women.
Unquestionably the most prestigious tournament to get it going, and what fields they have had in the past.
It's just the start of the season. We've got the Coaches versus Cancer and then the Honda Elite coming up at the end of November and early December. ESPN and ESPN2, the exclusive home for the NCAA tournament. And on to the Final Four at St. Louis after a thrilling finish for the UConn Huskies in Philadelphia. Penn State, of course, was there. With that Philadelphia flavor. Renee Portland played at Immaculata. And, of course, Vivian Stringer, also a local. And here is the field goal shooting. Old Dominion and Penn State. Penn State at 50% in the second half.
You know, some new faces in the starting lineup. It almost took Penn State that first 20 to get adjusted. They built a solid lead, but the confidence continues to grow here. Got some absolutely superb games. You mentioned Penn State, but they had to get by Leon Barmore in what was supposed to have been his last collegiate basketball game. Renee's club did an outstanding job getting the Final Four, and I thought the best game in the entire tournament, the Rutgers-Georgia game. Wow, that was sensational. Folks, Rutgers loses some key people, Shawnetta Stewart in particular, but they are a team to be reckoned with. That zone is not something you can adjust too easily.
Good inside, good outside. Quite possible. I mean, early discussions about whether or not the Big East women are headed towards the heady days of the Big East men in the mid-'80s when they had 3 teams in the Final Four.
Unquestionably, the SEC is the dominant conference in women's college basketball. The numbers back it up. The ACC and Big Ten traditionally, but the Big East has made such strides. Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame, Kathy Inglis at Boston College. You mentioned C. Vivian Stringer.
We will see Georgia in the second half of our doubleheader, and they will have a dogfight, if you'll pardon the pun, with Tennessee, with a terrific Mississippi State team, LSU.
Latoya Thomas. Get another look at her.
Just a fantastic young talent. Side by side with Jennifer Fambro for Mississippi State. Marie Ferdinand getting a lot of hype following a fantastic summer with the U.S. Jones Cup team, where she was really the breakout star on that club. And should make LSU very tough. They just lost in the New Mexico tournament to Duke. The Blue Devils, the favorites in the ACC this year, with Virginia following up a close second.
Ferdinand needs some help from Detrina White. A little bit undersized at 5'11", but solid rebounding numbers for her nonetheless. And you think about the SEC and the fact that she boards it so well at that size. It's impressive.
Luke across midcourt, slices up Kelly Mazzani for the 3. The freshman from Montoursville, PA, who has the green light wherever.
If she didn't have the green light, she might run the red light. That kid likes to shoot it.
They just went ahead and unhooked the red and yellow. There was no need for them.
She'd burn the fuse in the red light.
They are really excited about her scoring ability, and she is not shy about putting it up.
3,000 career points in high school. The WBCA All-American, and Renee has had great success recruiting over the years.
Over 3,200 points in her high school career, 3rd best ever in the state of Pennsylvania. Walseth continues to do the board work. Ashley Luke will try for 3. The whistle is going against Alex Spence, and that is her 4th personal. Spence will stay in there momentarily, at least. Mazzani thought ever so briefly about giving it up, but then
too much space. What pretty form.
She has a very sweet stroke. Got 5 now in the game. Maiga goes strong to the bucket, and she draws the foul.
Maiga will find it tougher and tougher to score if Howard and Spence continue to struggle to shoot the basketball. There's a problem for those two, but they get in early foul trouble. They get the 2. You have to sit early, and that takes you out of your rhythm. You never quite get the feel for the game.
Nothing worse than being out there and feeling handcuffed. Like you can't give it your all. And that's usually when you get into even more trouble and commit another tough foul. Maiga 3 of 8 from the free throw line. 10 for 20 as a team. Penn State 19 for 22. Maiga, spin move in the lane. Put back up, almost in by Coker. And Luke, the long feed up the court to
that's a foul.
Walseth, and that maybe they're going to call it intentional. She grabbed the jersey. No, it looks like they're just going to whistle Francis for the personal.
It's nice as a point guard when you have forwards who love to run and run as well as Walseth. Now she threads the needle here between 2 defenders. Solid pass. There's the grab by Francis.
Walseth says, where's the justice? Does get the whistle, but you're right, Doris. I think they have, with Walseth and Barnes, 2 outstanding forwards that can catch the ball on the run.
Really, you have to know the style of player you would like to coach and recruit and what fits into your system. And if you're going to play the front court for Penn State, you're going to be able to run the floor for sure.
Another nice catch there by Mazzani. She's got 7. Penn State with 4 players in double figures. Katrina Carr, Lisa Shepard, Rashana Barnes, Ashley Luke. Eight and a half to go. Penn State's offense has been impressive, considering it's the first game of the season.
They've gotten great balance. They've done a pretty good job with turnovers. They've shot free throws extremely well. We talked about how fundamentally sound they are. They've done all of those things today.
Counted for Hamchitu Maiga. She'll go to the free throw line. She's got 15 to lead the way for Old Dominion.
Maiga very right-handed, but she finds a way to be successful with it. She gets the crossover, 2 big steps. See, she's got to come back to the right. At the next level, you got to be able to put that in the left hand and go with it. But the ability to slice and split defense, she has, no question.
I don't know, Doris. I think our camera guy took the charge on that one. Should have been going the other way. Maiga, she'll head back to the free throw line. I think Tom picked up the foul on that one. Great job down there. Coaches love that kind of effort. Love to see him step in there and take the charge. Maiga starting to take over at the offensive end now for Old Dominion. Good recognition by the senior to pick up the scoring load. She's got 16.
Treatment as a freshman, offensive skills not great, known more as a defensive stopper. The one thing you have to say about Wendy Larry, she does an outstanding job of making players better.
Yeah, she was an all-CAA defensive team member the last couple of seasons. And offense picking up. Barnes, offensive putback. And Rashana draws the foul. Penn State, one of the few teams, well, Penn State and LSU really the only two teams that could hang around with Connecticut in last year's NCAA tournament when the Huskies just blew away the field by an average of 31 points per game en route to the national championship. And on the way, they beat Penn State in the national semifinals.
Yeah, Barnes, this young woman at the free throw line, the unsung hero on last year's squad. 6 boards.
Emerging this year from the shadow of Andrea Garner, the junior from Philly, with 19 points. 8 minutes to play in the first game of our doubleheader. Penn State on top of Old Dominion.
This is Mike. Mike sells muscle cars, but despite their 4-barrel carbs, their dual overhead cams, and their V8 engines, Mike's muscle cars didn't move very fast. So Mike went on cable TV. And that, as Mike would say, put the pedal to the metal. Cable advertising. It's easy, it's affordable, it works. With cable TV, you'll get your ads worth.
Are on the move.
Preseason NIT.
Ooh, how about in Indiana? Dude, championship game.
I don't know, man.
At 7, Kirk Haston and the Hoosiers look to avenge a tournament rout from the full-court attack of Pepperdine. Then at 9, it's off to Cameron, where Princeton takes on All-American Shane Battier and the Blue Devils. Pepperdine, Indiana at 7, Princeton, Duke at 9. The TiVo Preseason NIT, Tuesday on ESPN.
I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman. ESPN presents the Phenomenal Women of College Basketball. 29 regular season games. The selection show with Robin Roberts. Exclusive coverage of 30 tournament games, including the NCAA Final Four. Because I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman. That's me.
The UConn Huskies phenomenal last year en route to the NCAA championship. They will look to defend this season. And their quest will begin later today against the University of Georgia.
And that highlight that you have of Michelle Snow, that almost dunk. Ooh, Michelle, we want to see it.
Dunk can't be too far off.
No!
Because it looks like Tennessee will start. Would it be Michelle Snow or Gwen Jackson alongside with a great freshman, 6'3", Ashley Robinson, who has those long arms and long legs to get out on the break and maybe take a lob or two to get up there and get above the rim.
Look at that comparison. 35-18 perimeter scoring here in the second half. Yeah, you've got to wonder how Catchings and Randall and Ace Clement, 39-0 as freshmen, but their last opportunity at a national championship.
Of course, among the 29 regular season games you'll see here on ESPN, a battle between Tennessee and the UConn Huskies. Let's check in now with Leah Olson.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, I checked in with Renee Portland while they were in their timeout, and you would think that she would be happy with this lead. Well, she is not satisfied. She said to her team, we cannot be satisfied until we have the Big Ten trophy in our hands. So that's what she's thinking about right now. She said this is one little step on getting there, and if you want to be champions, you got to work hard. She said rebound and run. That is the name and game of this Penn State team.
Thank you very much, Leah. She looked very pleased right there at the defensive effort from Ashley Luke getting the block. And Penn State, winners of the regular season Big Ten championship last year, but lost to Purdue in the tournament as Kelly Mazzani knocks down 3.
You know, came in late, saw some late minutes, but this might earn her some earlier time. 4 of 6.
How about starting out 0 for 8 from three-point land, and Penn State has now hit 6 of their last 10. ODU tries to respond from deep. Mazzani on the break.
Wow. Folks, look out. She is going to earn some time early.
Mazzani 5 of 7, 2 for 3 from three-point range. We talked about the green light. I don't think she even has to worry about yield signs or caution.
Well, Rini talked about her creative thought process with the basketball. I've only seen one thought process. Jumper.
87-55 Penn State. An impressive showing by the Lady Lions to start out the season.
There are those who are born to be shooters, and their stroke, even great Carol Blazejowski comes to mind. Just phenomenal form, but watch Mazzanti. I mean, folks, it's just nothing but net every time she touches it. When they've gone down, those 5, it's been net, net, net. Luke with another assist off this shot, top of the key, wisely finding spots on the floor.
Doesn't seem fair, Doris. You and I never had that kind of stroke.
No, unfortunately not. It didn't stop you from shooting the ball.
No, it didn't. That thought press never got from head to hands. It was still going up. Ashley Luke, one of the few mistakes she's made today.
You'll give her that one if you're Rini. Rini's still smiling after that one.
Followed her brother RJ to Happy Valley. He plays with the football team. Stripped by Tiffany Thompson. Tried to feed Keisha Howard, filling the lane. Overthrows it. Penn State and Old Dominion in the opener. Georgia and Connecticut on the back end of our doubleheader today.
You see the improved Kelly Schumacher, the much more confident. Remember, she set the NCAA record last year, 9 blocks in the championship game against Tennessee, but you could tell the presence on the floor of Schumacher is much different, much more confident than at the start of last year's season.
Maybe 2 of the top 3 or 4 shot blockers in the nation in our second game with Schumacher and then Tawana McDonald for Georgia. Both of them very adept at swatting the basketball.
Yeah, McDonald set a season record at Georgia, took over the spot for Katrina McClain. That's pretty good company.
Yep. This wonderful tradition for these 4 teams that are here at the Hartford Civic Center this afternoon. Wendy Larry, of course, was a member of a couple of championship teams as a player and a coach, I believe. An assistant.
Rinky broke through to the Final Four. Of course, Andy Landers has been there himself. 5 Final Fours, but no national championship. And you know that is the lone thing on Andy's resume that he's looking to achieve. That and an SEC tournament title. It's been a while.
Coming up on the 5-minute mark. Maiga. Amshatu inside.
Boy, an impressive afternoon for her. She's still going strong.
20 points and 8 boards for Amshatu.
Oh, to be 21 again.
Her nickname is Tanti, which means aunt. And Molly, she's got 15 brothers and sisters and plenty of nieces and nephews. Can't grab hold of that one as it goes over the end line.
Allison Green was telling us that when she showed up, not only was there an explosion, but Keisha Howard, literally, they mobbed her. And the coaching staff at Old Dominion said,
It was just like the NBA playoffs there a couple years ago.
Yes, Keisha Howard had a leg hold similar to Jeff Van Gundy on Alonzo Mourning, but this one was a happy hold.
They are certainly glad that she made it. 20 points today to lead the way. Luke, nice bounce pass to Courtney Upshaw. 13 assists now for Ashley Luke.
Not a bad start.
Whew. Needless to say, a new career high for Ashley. Eight of the 9 Penn State players have now scored in today's game. Upshaw as well has a brother at Penn State, her brother Brock, playing baseball, following in her father's footsteps. You may recognize the name Willie Upshaw from his days with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now a manager for the Bridgeport Bluefish just up the road here in Connecticut.
They're excited about her future, Upshaw. She's another Penn State player who runs the floor extremely well.
She will add some much-needed muscle to that Penn State front line this year.
Working out was not working out. I needed a pad. Meg only had tampons. Playtex Gentle Glide. Wait, is this gonna be comfortable? And Meg says, like pads are, even the thinnest ones feel like a diaper.
Playtex protection adjusts to comfort fit. No pad can do that.
Great move. I couldn't even feel it.
So they're more than invisible. They're completely comfortable. Playtex Gentle Glide tampons.
So comfortable, you can't even feel them. Yeah.
I do kitchens, I do bathrooms, I do family rooms. I do not do insurance. I want to be treated like I feel I treat my clients. I want to be treated like I am their only client. Michelle Dutzman treats me the same way I want to be treated. I have my cars, all of my household. I need somebody that I can get advice from. I know that when I need them the most, they're going to be there.
Get to know your State Farm agent.
It's a great relationship.
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic for the benefit of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame is being brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Playtex tampons. They're so comfortable you can't even feel them. And by Red Zone from Old Spice. Intense protection for intense people.
Welcome back to the Hartford Civic Center, Hartford, Connecticut. Penn State and Old Dominion leading the way in the State Farm Tip-Off Classic, 89-63. The Lady Lions on top. Game 2 will be Connecticut and Georgia. And a big debut for Ashley Luke, the sophomore starting point guard for Penn State. Plenty of help from her teammates. 4 Lady Lions in double digits.
A double-double in her first effort starting at the point. 10 points, 13 assists.
Courtney Upshaw with the basket. Micah the kick out. Tiffany Thompson doesn't get that one to go. Rebound by Upshaw. Out to Lisa Shepard. Skip to Luke. Quick setup for the 3.
13 and 13 in a very solid form. We talked about Mazzanti's form. Luke, very solid as well. Going to need some space because of her size.
An impressive double-double today for Ashley Luke. Howard on the drive. Can't get it to drop. Thompson with the rebound. The putback. Doesn't get it to go. And she will head to the free throw line. We also wanted to extend our congratulations to Michael Peck and his wife Rachel, the assistant coach for Penn State. They are expecting their first child in May. So congratulations to them. And Aunt Carolyn Peck, the head coach of the Orlando Miracle. I would imagine one of the first gifts for the youngster will be a basketball.
Or an Orlando Miracle jersey.
So instrumental in working with these Penn State players. And you talked about earlier the importance of having that staff around you. And all of the top programs in the country have coaches that have been around for a while to work with the head coach.
Michael in his 3rd year, but Andy Troy 14th year on the sideline for Rini. He has had a history of having outstanding assistant coaches. Dan Durkin now the head coach at Duquesne, Bob Foley, the head coach at Richmond. And Annie Troyan, the lone assistant who has chosen not to go on to her head coaching position. I'm going to believe Michael has those aspirations.
Well, similar to Chris Daly, who we'll see in our second game today at Connecticut. Plenty of offers to be a head coach somewhere, but has chosen to stay as Gina Oriema's right-hand woman on the Connecticut sideline. Sometimes it's a very big adjustment when you have to start out at a smaller program or a team that's not a winning program, from going to coaching with the best in the country and winning every night out, to having to try and work your way through and suffer through those initial losing seasons before you get your program on track.
The recruiting issue is much different at programs that are established and those that are not.
Penn State shooting better than 60% in this second half, and that has been the difference in just simply not allowing Old Dominion to find a way to get back into it.
I don't think if you had asked Reedy Portland would she score in the 90s in her first game without Darling and Garner, despite the fact that she loves that up-tempo, I think she would have been surprised. Yep. But I think in large part you've got to remember that Wendy Larry's saga has really started as the young and the injured. Young backcourt, injured Lucianne Berthoud.
Talked about that schedule earlier for Old Dominion. It's a tough one for the Lady Lions as well. They've got Duke later this month, and then possibly Texas Tech, Louisiana State, Southwest Missouri State on their trip down to the Virgin Islands. And then, as always, a difficult road through the Big Ten.
Southwest Missouri State. Jackie Stiles. Well worth a watch, folks.
Player to definitely keep your eye on if you get a chance to go see her.
Leading returning scorer in the nation.
Arguably one of the best scorers ever in the history of college basketball.
It was interesting watching the likes of Shea Ralph and Stiles and Schumacher compete against the U.S. Olympic team. And talking to Shea Ralph yesterday, she said she went to drive through the lane and bumped into Katie Smith. And she said, right after that, I hit the weight room. And the physical nature of the women at that next level is so drastically different.
Lisa Shepard and Ashley Luke, a terrific start to the season for Penn State. In every facet offensively for them.
And don't make any mistake of why Shepard is smiling. Those 13 assists means that she's going to get the ball in the right spot.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. She's already the career three-point leader at Penn State. Has hit more than anybody in history.
Good shooters need good passers.
Fun to watch, too, in the Big Ten as a sidelight. Shepard beat out Katie Douglas for Indiana's Miss Basketball honors when they were in high school, and now will be two of the leading contenders for Big Ten Player of the Year this season. Shepard draws first blood today with a nice performance. 16 points. All of them coming in the first half as the Lady Lions put it into cruise control in the second. Minute 44 to go. (97-69), Penn State with the lead over Old Dominion. Game one of the doubleheader. And a reminder, if you have not already picked up ESPN College Basketball's Full Court pay-per-view. Watch over 450 college games on pay-per-view. Top teams and conferences, no matter where you live. Call your cable operator or DirecTV at 1-800-DirecTV. Or the Dish Network at 1-800-333-DISH. ESPN Full Court. Gotta have it. That's a must-have to see all the action from around the country this year. Exciting season in college basketball. The argument's already underway. Who's better, Duke or Arizona for the men?
people picking Shane Battier as the player of the year. He's certainly got one of the outstanding point guards. Jason Williams was sensational in Hawaii against the men's U.S. Olympic team. I mean, sensational. And let's not forget the job Tommy Amaker has done at Seton Hall.
A lot of excitement in Big East country about Seton Hall's chances. Maren Walsett. A little bit too far underneath the hoop. But she ends up with the basketball anyways. Batted around and out to Keisha Howard. Bodies flying all over the place. And a basket and a foul as Howard finishes at the other end. Mazzani went down hard. Courtney Upshaw, the freshman, coming home today from Southport, Connecticut. They need to get her some quality time. Walseth will be gone next year, and so Upshaw will be counted on to be that presence in the post. They are real pleased with the way she's picked up their system, how hard she's working. 4 freshmen, and all of them will have a chance to contribute for the Lady Lions. Shepard. Putting it up and in. Jackie Shook.